Every Wednesday at 8:30 to listen to GameSHOUT at the Movies, only on GameSHOUT Radio.
And now, it's time for the award-winning PC Game Reviews by GameSHOUT. The GameSHOUT PC Game Reviews.
And welcome back to GameSHOUT Radio. This is the PC Playground. I'm SexyJosh, sitting in for Captain Maverick tonight. And we got a huge show for you guys tonight. Man, it's going to be a wicked good show. We got a good review of UFO Aftershock with Captain Maverick, pre-recorded for us. Then we have my review of Serious Sam 2. And then we're going over to Captain Maverick again. He's going to let us know about this week's Demo of the Week, which is X-Men Legends 2, Rise of the Apocalypse. You can download that at demoindex.com. And then later on in the show, myself, Jadri, and Soulrift are going to continue with Part 2 of our World of Warcraft, the Burning Crusade preview. Oh, buddy, it's going to be something big. So stay tuned, strap in, hang out. We got a huge show. But first, let's hand it over to Captain Maverick for his review of UFO Aftershock.
50 years ago. In the midst of the struggle against alien menace, the Guardians of Earth have betrayed it, seeking refuge in the sky. Now it's time to reclaim the Earth. When I first started playing video games back in the day, space games consisted of asteroids and space invaders. Now we've come a long way from our spaceship looking like a stick-drawn triangle with smaller lines shooting out from it to these massive 3D space simulations of today. Now it seems that there's a whole world of games out there dedicated to being just a little, well, out of this world. Today we shall speak of just such a game, UFO Aftershock. A sequel to UFO Aftermath, Aftershock takes us to the next level. Well, maybe a little background's in order. It's the year 2054. There's a massive alien attack. It leaves the Earth completely uninhabitable. Now, this is about 50 years ago by game standard time. Many people were lucky enough to be evacuated to this life raft. It's an immense floating island in orbit called a Laputa. Well, give a human some power, and I guess some people think that they'll eventually become abusive and corrupt. And that seems to be the case with this space version of the Love Boat, and the conflict that erupted eventually destroyed the Laputa. Now the survivors of the survivors have to start all over again, and smaller Laputas and even smaller numbers of troops attempting to wrestle the Earth back out of the hands of various mutants and aliens that inhabit it. Now this can be a very fun game, really, if you give it a chance. It starts out a little slow to some, well, to us first-person shooter fans, but if you're familiar with the turn-based gameplay, you'll probably find this an easy game to transition to. First, you've got to go through the training, and I do suggest taking advantage of this tutorial. It can make the difference between fun and, well, running out of this room screaming in frustration. Training is going to teach you the basics of movement and the use of objects. The problem with the training phase in this game, it requires a whole lot of reading. This used to be how we played Sid Meier's Pirates back on the old Commodore 64. This is supposed to be the age of 3D and all. Well, shouldn't they be using plain language? Well, even when Mark is teaching you the basic ropes, Kanega, they saw the need to add cue cards, maybe for the slow listener. Well, follow along, because it does get better when you get into the combat mode and go to that action screen. After basic training, you'll get thrown right into the battle on the planet below. You enter the strategic screen, which is an image of the floating globe. Now, you're now on a Laputa hovering over the Mediterranean, or just north of Italy. You're going to be able to navigate your Laputa from this screen and travel around the globe, but you can only see what is effectively in your radar range. There is a map, and menu controls aplenty, and they do take you to a variety of areas. One is your squad menu. Now, in this menu, you can equip your squad and prep them for the upcoming mission. You now have 4 on your team, but this is going to grow and shrink as others are added. Yeah, added. There's still a few humans living below on Earth, and they need some help. And some of them will want to join your team. We'll talk about that later. Other menus you can access will allow you to add facilities, research facilities, manage your resources. Now remember, everything's in short supply, so you also have to find things to add to your inventory from the planet's surface. Okay, your squad is prepped, you're ready to launch, you get them to the planet below, you come out of this device, this pod device for travel. Remembering this is a turn-based, you're going to plan your troops' move, and then you're going to hit the space bar and spring them into action. Now, I made the mistake of initially moving my team as a unit, but as it turns out, it really is a mistake. Remember, you're going to encounter some very bad and scary things, and you must kill them. If your team moves closely together, they're going to be in each other's line of fire, so you're only going to be about half as effective. So you move them as a unit, but you want to consider the strategic placement of each team member and allow them to cover each other. If your team should face a mutant or an alien, they'll announce that they saw one, and the action will now pause. And you can change your orders and, on account of this new objective, kill bad guy. Maybe you want to get behind some cover, but look, your troops, they're not going to be able to see the enemy, and if they can't see them, they can't kill them. UFO Aftershock is not a fast-paced game, but that is not to say that it won't get your heart pumping, okay? The environments are relatively easy to control. I would have preferred a little more zoom, but to get a better read on the situation, but it offers a good map overview. The worlds are nicely detailed, look very appealing. You're not going to see the enemy right away either, but when your team does see them coming, they're going to say, look, here they come. Okay, voice acting was not the center of attention on Aftershock, but it is passable. The other sounds are appropriate, but not overpowering. I thought the game came together pretty nicely and really formed a nice environment. I mean, you also add your concern with economics, diplomacy, and other conditions that are going to make you more effective in the strategy game. It's really a strategy game. Overall, I thought it was a pleasant project. I can recommend it for anybody interested in a single-player turn-based strategy game, and really anybody else wanting to slow down for a few minutes and become immersed in another story of just how you're going to save the planet again. And though this title is not very well known as some bigger turn-based games, I think you're going to find this will be kind of a sleeper. All of a sudden, you're going to wake up and say, wait, how'd this get so popular? If you give this game a chance, I think it's going to take control of you too. I gave it a score of 7.5 out of 10.
Thank you, Mav. That's awesome, and glad it turned out to be a good game after a very, very bad, what was it, reception of the first game. I think Soulrift and I were talking about that a while ago. He was like, oh, man, Aftershock looks cool. Well, why does this look familiar? Oh, that's right, I hated the first one. Right, Soul?
Well, yeah, actually, I was looking at the screenshots of Aftershock, and I was like, wait a minute, this looks familiar. And I reached around my box of CDs, and I fished around, and I finally found UFO Aftermath. And I was like, oh, how could I have missed this? So I reinstalled it. I played the first mission. I'm like, now I remember why I missed it. This game sucks.
Nice. Well, all right, well, let's move on here. We got Serious Sam 2, my review, right now.
This is what I call a gun. Yourself.
Serious Sam 2, yet another creation from the Crow team, the guys who brought us the original Serious Sam and the expansion pack Second Encounter. Both were really good games, and they really threw threw it into the teeth of conventional FPS gaming by basically taking a step back in the way the gameplay works. See, with the original Serious Sam, it was around the time when we were getting all these first-person shooters with huge stories, lots of production, and great graphics, and this very great immersion. Well, then it comes along Crow Team with Serious Sam 1, and basically, like I said, throws it in the teeth of conventional gaming. They step back into the old school of the first-person shooter, where all you needed were big guns and lots of enemies to shoot at, and it was awesome, and it was good. And then Second Encounter came along, and it was good. It added some more content, but not much improvement upon the game or graphics. This time we have Serious Sam 2. Wow. I have to admit that definitely the graphics have been updated, and they look very beautiful right off the bat. They've added the ability to pick up items. So right in the first level, you walk into this little village where there's a little community going on. You can look at the people, pick up a few items. There's basketballs on the ground and a basketball hoop above you, so you can try and sit there for like as long as you want trying to get the basketball in the hoop. Let me tell you, it's harder than hell. I've tried. You can also bust out your weapons and start, saw down a building, get some points for it, pick up some shotgun shells, look around. It's like your regular, your old school first-person shooter where there's just like power-ups and ammo just lying around everywhere. But then as you walk closer into the jungle, that's when the crap hits the fan. Literally, it all starts breaking loose. Enemies start appearing, stuff starts going nuts, and you're back in the game again, going up against Mental and his wonderful minions of hell. So here we have a great game so far that has been based on the original game, and the production value has just been upped immensely, I have to say. The game is still hilarious, and that is, if anything, that's what all these games have been, hilarious. With right off the bat, Nettie, or Nitriska is the full name of the AI that talks to you. Right off the bat, starts speaking, and Sam's confusion is, "Hey, wait a minute, you couldn't talk in the when did you start talking?" And she comes out with the answer of, "Well, bigger game budget." So that's that's the type of humor you're going to find throughout the game. If you remember, the kamikazes and all the different randomly weird enemies, a pirate bomb. It's just that they take some creatively weird ideas and throw as much into this game as possible. It's hilarious. Now, I did have a few problems with the game initially. When I first installed it, I had, 5 minutes into the game, I had it crash on me. Well, that kind of sucked. Once I figured out how to fix that, the game was running stellar. Graphically, like I said, the game is a definite improvement upon its last ones. You can still have huge outdoor levels, huge indoor levels, and an assload of enemies all over the place. It's just ridiculously hilarious, and it's also a lot of fun. On top of that, your boss fights are also equally as great. With huge boss battles, it definitely is one of the most rewarding things, because you'll spend a good 5-10 minutes trying to take down a boss, and once he's down, and it's like, sweet. So there's definitely a feeling of accomplishment when you get that stuff going. Multiplayer is a lot of fun. It's typical multiplayer. Nothing really new here, and that's the problem with going back to the old school first-person shooters, is you're going back to the old school type multiplayer. Sound-wise, it's pretty not impressive, to tell you the honest truth. Guns sound like guns. Explosions sound like explosions. Voice acting is actually horrible, to tell you the truth. It seems like they rushed through it and did it in a few days, which may be the case, may not be the case, considering since it's a team of Croatians trying to speak English, from what I can tell. They did an okay job of it, but overall the voice acting wasn't that great. Animation-wise, pretty much run-of-the-mill. I can't say that it's anything brand new, but for a game like this, you're not really looking for depth, like I said before. And this is a game that is, unabashedly all about just shooting and blowing stuff up. And I have to admit that it did that with abandon. It was a fun game. It was a whole lot of fun. I couldn't stop playing until I finally had beaten it. So I have to definitely suggest, if you're into the old school first person shooter, or if you're just into blowing stuff up and running around and just having a wacky, crazy fun time inside of a really weird game, check Serious Sam 2 out. Good job. I'm going to have to give this game an 8.0 out of 10. Well, folks, it's that time of night when we do this little segment for our PC Playground called Demo of the Week. And this week's Demo of the Week is X-Men Legends 2, Rise of the Apocalypse. You can download that at demoindex.com. Check it out for yourself. But let's let Captain Maverick tell us about what he thought of X-Men Legends, Rise of the Apocalypse.
Red 7 on patrol. We got a heavy storm front coming up. Wait a minute. We got bogeys. Hundreds of them. HQ, what are my orders? HQ?
All shall bear witness to my greatness. Polaris, she's been abducted.
It appears we both have a grievance with Apocalypse. Now, two enemies will unite, and an uncommon alliance will go to the ends of the earth to destroy the ultimate evil. X-Men Legends 2: Rise of Apocalypse. Rated T for teen.
X-Men 2: Rise of Apocalypse. It's an all-new action RPG that lets players create, customize, and control teams of 4 mutants from 16 all-time favorite X-Men and classic Brotherhood villains from the Marvel Universe. With X-Men and Brotherhood fighting side by side for the first time, players switch instantly between teammates, wielding more superpowers and skills than X-Men Legends, and as they overcome obstacles to solve puzzles and defeat more than 100 types of enemy, including Lady Deathstrike and the notorious 4 Horsemen of Apocalypse. The demo, it features full cinematic intro. I mean, it's a very, very nice intro, and the tutorial, the Sanctuary and Dead Zone maps from the from the 3D Super Action Hero game. So, yeah, it's really a good download. My suggestion is download it, check it out, give you a chance to try X-Men Legends 2 before you buy it. It's a 336 meg download, and it is an Activision publication. I think something definitely worth checking out. You guys ought to check it out. I got a chance to play a few of the levels, and frankly the detail is very nice. It is a little difficult trying to figure out what does what and what buttons which, and so take the time, learn so that you can enjoy the gameplay. And if you guys got a chance to play this, it's definitely one to check out. I like the graphics. I thought the sounds were pretty reasonable. The only issue I have was the controls, and you're gonna have to check that one out yourself and see what you think. So, all right, X-Men 2 Legends: Rise of Apocalypse. Demo of the week, and definitely worth every penny of it. Check it out. Do it for me. See you there.
Awesome. Thanks, Mav. So that was our demo of the week, X-Men Legends: Rise of Apocalypse. Interesting game, came out on both consoles and PC, so hopefully it didn't really suffer the whole console move over that seems to happen whenever they try to do that type of thing. But anyways, well, that's all for that right there. We got more coming up after the break. Folks, if you want to get a hold of us on MSN or AIM, it's AIM GameSHOUT, MSN Rocket, GameShout.com. I want to thank Maestro826 for saying hi to us on there. So if you disagree, agree, send us emails, messages. We love hearing from you. And stay tuned. We got World of Warcraft, The Burning Crusade, coming up, preview, part 2, right after this.
Millions of people love Newegg.com. Go on that website and check it out. You'll see what I'm talking about. There's a whole testimonial page. People are using the L word when it comes to Newegg.com. They say love. I love Newegg.com. How is Newegg.com earning this kind of devotion? Well, they sell computers, components, and electronics. That's true. But it's the great price. It's the huge selection. It's the fair shipping. And it's because the customer service is so great. They actually care about your satisfaction. They have video cards, routers, wireless networking equipment, DVD players, hard drives, software, digital cameras, and unbelievable fair shipping. So, I can't sing the praises of Newegg.com enough, and neither can anyone else. So whether you need a motherboard or the mother of all TVs, go to Newegg.com. You'll see what their millions of happy customers are raving about. Once you know, Newegg.com.
And welcome back to GameSHOUT Radio's PC Playground. I'm SexyJosh, sitting in for Captain Maverick tonight. We've had a great show so far. Talked about X-Men Legends 2, Rise of the Apocalypse, which was our demo of the week. We had a review of Serious Sam 2 and a review of UFO Aftershock. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our preview of World of Warcraft, The Burning Crusade.
Yet, within the fabled caverns of time, the past has come full circle. Despite the efforts of the Bronze Dragonflight, windows into Azeroth's history have opened wide, allowing adventurers to experience the past firsthand. Journey through Hillsbrad and Durnhold Keep when the young Orc Thrall first set out to discover his epic destiny. Venture through the Black Morass, where the fallen Guardian Medivh first opened the Dark Portal and ushered in an age of chaos upon the world. Witness the majesty of the World Tree Nordrassil as 3 heroic armies join forces to defend it from the insidious Archimonde and put a final end to the Burning Legion's invasion of Azeroth. In the present, a proud, ancient race has embraced a new beginning. Quel'Thalas has been reborn. The High Elves, now known as Blood Elves, lost the source of their eternal power when their kingdom was ravaged by the undead scourge. Desperate to replenish their energies, they now siphon dark magics from beyond the world. Flush with their newfound strength, the Blood Elves have reclaimed their beloved Eversong Forest. Based within their capital of Silvermoon City, they continue their reckless quest to claim new sources of arcane power. Once staunch allies of the Alliance, the Blood Elves turned away from their former comrades in arms. Their obsession to gain power at any cost has set them on a collision course with the Horde. And a destiny they could not have foreseen.
World of Warcraft, The Burning Crusade. It's going to be coming out, there's no release date as of yet for it, but we're going to be giving you a little sneak preview as to what's been going on so far. Last week we talked about the new Blood Elves, which is going to be the new race for the Horde side. There's no Alliance side as of yet, because that's still in works. They had something and then scrapped it, so now they're working on another race. On top of that, we also talked about the new profession, jewel crafting, which will allow you to make jewels, rings, trinkets, stuff like that. Not sure what you're going to be able to make yet, but we'll get more information as we get to that. But I bet you're wondering, what else are they going to be doing here? What's the level cap? Well, we did mention last week that the new level cap is going to be capped at 70. So that's only 10 extra levels. I know. What the hell are we going to be doing at 70? Well, there's going to be quite a bit, actually. First off, you're going to be having the ability to, get a new mount at level 70. So to work to it, you get this really cool mount, a flying mount. That's right. You get to fly around on your flying mount. Trouble is, you can't quite do it in the regular World of Warcraft. You have to do it in the new area, the Outland. Let's talk about Outland real quick here, because Outland is quite an interesting little place. Alright, so the story-wise, it goes that where the orcs used to come from was a completely different planet. Well, that planet was destroyed, and it's now in floating spacey type thing in a different realm, which is now, it used to be called Daranor, but now it's called Outland. So now you get to go there, and the whole mission, the big end-level mission there is to get to the basic big guy, it's Draenor, I'm sorry. The big main bad guy whose name is Illidan. And Illidan is, you might remember him from Warcraft 3. If I do remember correctly, he was in that. So,
yeah, he was the blinded Night Elf.
That's right, that was Illidan. He was the demon hunter. So now, for some odd reason, he's the main bad guy in this World of Warcraft. We're going to try and get as much information out of that story as we possibly can. So you're going to be taking lots and lots of trips to that place.
Yeah, that's because of what happened in the expansion to Warcraft 3, the Frozen Throne. That's where Illidan really came back as the big bad guy, because Archimonde was defeated in the actual original campaign. But both of these big guys are coming back again in World of Warcraft. So it's kind of interesting how they're drawing the storylines that they did for the RTS and its expansion into the online game.
Oh yeah, it's really, and to take steps even further, they're taking characters and events that happened even before the World of Warcraft games and turning them into instances and missions. How are they doing that? With a new area called the Caverns of Time. If you've ever gone to, Tanaris, it's a big desert down at the bottom of Kalimdor, the continent. Down there, there's an area called the Caverns of Time, and when you go in there, you're going to be able to travel through time into these weird instances where you have to complete different missions, such as saving the current Horde King Thrall from the humans. You also have to go back in time to help the wizard who had originally opened the dark portal. You have to keep him alive as all these people start attacking him. So that's another really cool and interesting aspect. Not only do you have to go back in time, but you have to go back in time and keep the timeline from changing. So that's going to be an interesting thing to do, from level 60 to 70. Now, but again, Outland is a different thing. You could be level 56 and still get over there. But the difference between a normal area and this is, it's not going to be opened right away. No. See, each server is going to be opening that at a different time, as far as I know. You're going to have to complete certain quests first before you can go there. And if I understand correctly, unless I'm thinking of the Insect Kingdom that's going to have that's going to have a whole other area to it. You're going to have to do server-wide missions. That means everybody has to pitch in and try and get the doors open to Outland. So going through there's going to be a lot of stuff to do in Outland. And also, there's going to be a new war against these insect people. That are going to be in a completely different area. Again, you're going to have to do server-wide missions to try and get the gates open to this. And once they're open, And there's a whole other city, a whole other culture, and a whole other set of bad guys that you get to go and fight. So there's going to be really a lot of new things coming in this expansion pack. We're really excited. What do you? I don't see what else could make this any better. I personally would like a higher.
I know what could make this a lot better.
What's that?
Well, I'm sure you can just keep adding more of the same content, but I really want to see more of really new content. I want to see more of the realm versus realm, alliance versus horde PvP stuff. And I mean, they started this with the battlegrounds, and it kind of came close to what I wanted with Alterac Valley, because it was like this really big battle, and you got to control these graves, and you got to work your way back and forth. But I wanted to see like a persistent battleground, a battleground that doesn't end. Just like the frontiers in Dark Age of Camelot, where you have these giant castles and you got to siege them, you got to take over them, to have the player versus player combat on a much more epic scale than just 40 versus 40. That's what I'd like to see in the expansion. Some sort of like an Outland where you've got your two central towns and then a whole lot of fortresses in between, and you've got to capture these fortresses and use those to push forward on territory.
But that'd be really interesting, and I'm looking forward to more of what's going to be coming on here. But we gotta take a break here.
This is GameSHOUT Radio, the #1 talk game station in the world. Visit GameSHOUT.com for more info. GameSHOUT. GameSHOUT.
You're listening to GameSHOUT